Providing help to the members of your team can be tricky. Since you're the boss, staff members are aware that you supervise them and evaluate them. And if you come in and say, "I'm here to help," it may or may not be well received. Those managers who come in too heavy-handed often receive a bad reputation. In addition, staff members can have strong emotional or psychological reactions to unnecessary or unwanted help. In this episode, we'll discuss how to provide help in a manner that's well received. Hi, I'm Rick Kendall.
And I'm Fred Ball.
Welcome to Management Mastery. The purpose of these podcasts is to share what each of us has learned about good and bad management in our combined over 40 years of experience, both as managers and executive coaches. During that time, we've coached managers at every level in companies from Fortune 100s to brand new startups in all major businesses, including nonprofits, government, and education. So whether you're just starting in your first management position or are an experienced manager looking to strengthen your management skills, we know our podcast will be valuable to you.
Let's look at some of the problems that can occur. If you provide too much help anticipating problems before team members even start a project, it can clearly be viewed as micromanaging. Providing help when the group is working on the project can be good or bad depending upon how you handle it. But since you're ultimately responsible for the work, allowing the team to continue in a poor or useless direction is a recipe for your team needing to do the work over and not achieving the team's goals. Additional information on this topic can be found in the article How to Help Without Micromanaging by Colin Fisher and others in the January-February 2024 issue of the Harvard Business Review.
There are a number of questions to ask yourself before providing help, and both before and after the project begins. For example, before the project begins, you want to ask yourself, do you have the right team assigned to the project in terms of their skills, knowledge of the project, and time to devote to it?
Have you picked someone to lead the effort? Have you made clear the goals, deadlines, and timetables for the effort? Have you explained clearly what needs to be done, but not how to do it? Have you set a specific schedule for progress reports? Rick, I had one situation, a coaching situation recently, where the manager had done all of the setup work, they thought, and then as the project began, it was absolutely clear that some of the members of the project understood things to be going slightly in one direction and others slightly in another direction. And the manager first had to come in and clarify the direction that they wanted followed. But then as the manager spoke with me about it, we got into a situation where I was asking the manager questions and it became clear that the manager did not do enough preparation themselves before they told the direction to the team, and then were not clear enough in the direction that they gave the team.
Yeah, Fred, it's amazing how often that can happen. I think in my experience working with people and managing, that one of the things that happens is you as a manager have a clear idea in your head what you want and how the project should go, but you may not have completely explained that to the project manager and the staff that's supposed to carry it out. And one of the things we've talked about before in terms of this is in regard to active listening, and that is get the project leader to tell you back what they think the project is about and how you want it done, so that it's clear whether or not they understand or have the same understanding that you do as to what the project involves. And also, have you considered the possible needs of any team members who may be working remotely? And do you yourself know enough technically about what the team is doing to provide help? And if not, how do you plan to address that? Is this a team that will accept help willingly, or will they feel annoyed and undermined by your intervening?
Rick mentioned the just use care for those who are working remotely. That's an important point because sometimes people who are working remotely need more help in staying on target.
Yeah, that is true.
Once the project begins, you need to be asking yourself, are you meeting with the team on the schedule that has been set? Are you taking care not to be overly concerned with details and procedures that may make you appear to be micromanaging?
Yeah, and you also want to just be aware. I mean, just think about, do you feel that the team is functioning effectively? And are you hearing from others that there are problems the team is facing? People who aren't on the team but are saying, I don't know. They seem to be having some problems. And on the other hand, do you overreact when things aren't going the way you'd want them to go or the way you'd do it? Remember, you've got to let the team have as much independence as possible. Again, avoiding micromanaging. And are there any individual or personal business issues among the team members that you need to be aware
of? Makes me smile when you say, or the way you would do it. So often that's an issue for young managers, watching other people do work that they could also do.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That can get in the way so often. Well, I wouldn't do it that way.
Right. So once the project starts, what can you do to give help if it's needed without seeming to micromanage? Well, sometimes the timing of help you give the team is as important, if not more so, than the actual help itself.
Yeah. For example, sometimes managers feel they need to jump in and preempt problems or throw themselves in at the first sign of a problem. It may, however, make more sense to just watch and listen until the team members actually say they need help and are therefore willing to listen receptively. I mean, this can be a real challenge for managers. I mean, it looks like they're heading for a cliff, but how close do they have to get before you finally jump in? And that's a real judgment call.
Yeah, people are more willing to accept help when they're actually engaged in the work rather than before it starts. In any case, stay in touch with the team leader more often than the regularly scheduled team meetings in order to hear if there are any issues.
Right. Sometimes the leader will say stuff that they don't want to say in front of their team. So, yeah, keeping in touch with the leader is important. And it's also important to let staff know that you're there to help, but only if it's needed. You want to be absolutely sure that team members understand that you're there to help them, not to evaluate them, as this is always an ongoing concern about staff. Am I being rated? Am I being judged because I may need some help? That's always an issue. And to do this, help staff think through problems by asking questions rather than just telling them what you think the answer is. And your goal should be to try to get the team to arrive at the solution themselves. And just by asking questions so you understand how they perceive the problem, a lot of times can lead them to do that.
I agree. I think that's a strong piece of advice that can help a young manager to do exactly what you just said. Let them come to their own conclusion.
Right.
And by all means, stick to your schedule of team check-in meetings and be careful in these meetings that you don't co-opt the team leader's time. Let them lead the meeting.
Yes, yeah. And also you want to keep the team members informed about the department progress and challenges and goals, what's going on outside of that assignment. But at the same time, be sure to watch for signs that some individuals may be struggling to achieve their goals. And finally, you want to keep an eye out for personal problems within the group. If the team leader or team members need help, give it to them.
Before you do, however, be sure you understand the type of help needed. Sometimes a deeper level of help on a particular complex problem than you can provide is needed. Especially if this project is critical to the department's success, then you absolutely must make sure you have a technical understanding of the goals. If you don't have the expertise, then get help from a specialist or team that is focused on the specific need.
And if you do have the expertise, then you need to decide if the time commitment needed of you makes sense given your other obligations in the department. If it is, then you want to determine how you'll assist the team while maintaining a focus on the overall needs of the department. You really have to balance everything out. And throughout the process, you need to continually evaluate whether you made the right decision about your level of involvement. I mean, sometimes, you get through a rough spot and the team seems to be doing well and knowing what's needed, and they don't need you anymore. And, both for your own sake, so you can devote, your efforts back to the department as a whole, and also it shows the team that, you respect their ability to continue without you. Again, to minimize the idea that you're micromanaging. And so overall, regardless of your level of involvement, you need to constantly look for opportunities to help your staff to clear roadblocks and other problems. I mean, things that are external to what they're doing but get in the way. That's where you can be most valuable.
I agree with that. In summary, providing help to the members of your team can be tricky. Since you're the boss, staff members are aware that you supervise and evaluate them, and if you come in and say, "I'm here to help," it may or may not be received well. Those managers who come in too heavy-handed often receive a bad reputation. In addition, staff members can have strong emotional or psychological reactions to unnecessary or unwanted help. In this episode, we discussed how to provide help in a manner that is well received.
We hope you have found this podcast useful and will come back again for more management mastery. If you have any comments about this or any of our episodes, or would like to find out more about our other services, including one-on-one coaching and group seminars for managers, visit our website at careercoachclass.com. Thanks for listening.